What's up, guys? How you doing? Back to another episode of the Big Classic Podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And today we have the best training partner I've ever trained with in IFBB Pro, Eddie Papiro, on the show.
Yo, Eddie.
How you doing?
Biggest heart you'll ever see in a person. This guy is all heart. He doesn't say anything he doesn't mean, and I love him for it. Good or bad, he tells me like it is all the time. Again, I do love the guy. And of course, I got my co-host here, Walter Sellers.
Hey, everybody.
Having fun with me every week. And my other co-host behind the camera, incognito himself, Rashad.
Yo.
What's your last name? Scott.
Jones.
So,
This guy, that's my man. Don't do that to him.
always. This
Puts
is
up
what we
with your
do.
shit.
This is what we do. Grumpy old men all day long, every week.
You
know
can be old
what I
by
mean?
yourself.
24/7.
I ain't old. You can be
But
old.
I mean, him and I act like grumpy old men. Just go
I
back at
believe
each
it.
other.
Like
all
life,
the time.
Martin Lawrence and Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy.
pretty much, right? My partner in crime here. My man is killing it right now. He's doing more sessions than anyone else in my company. So
You talking about me?
I am talking about you. He is killing the game right now. So super proud of this young man right here.
That's right.
Yeah, and guys, a few more weeks left for this transformation contest.
That's right.
We need you guys to get on it so that you guys can take advantage of the discounted price up front.
That's over.
Is it over?
Discount's over.
Oh man.
We're in a full swing.
Okay.
$129
All
for
right.
your entrance to go see Beyonce. There may be a 2-for-1 later on, maybe the day of or day before the end, but
I don't think so. I mean,
You
we
don't
got
think so?
quite a few
Yeah.
participants already, so
we're doing already.
I
Yeah.
think we're doing well with it. But definitely get in there. 129 is still nothing for a free bottle of the best fat burner in the market. Shred 'em, and an opportunity to get in the best shape of your life, as well as see Queen Bee herself, Beyonce, in Washington D.C. And
At the FedEx field.
what's the date, brother?
Oh, that's the first weekend in August the 5th. For that Saturday show, it's going to be awesome. First level, lower level, you'll be right there. She might even sweat on you if you get close enough.
Right. I mean, I would take the tickets myself, but I'll be getting ready for the Masters Olympics.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we won't be any mood to watch Beyonce. And,
Facts.
we'll watch her from afar.
He might dance. He might get on stage to dance. That's see him do some splits.
If I look the way I need to, I won't be able to dance. Talk,
I'll be suffering.
I'll be like,
We're in suffer mode.
and how am I going to make it?
Just tell her I said hi.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not important. Is it pizza? No, I don't want it. I'm good.
That's it.
Yeah. So what's going on with you, man?
Working. Since retirement, all Ed does is work and go to wrestling on the weekends.
Nice.
Wait, being a full-time dad is
Yeah.
always. There's nothing more rewarding. Your son just won a big event this past weekend, right?
Yeah, he is now the reigning two-time district champion for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Association. That's
awesome.
one full sentence there.
Yeah.
He was our Delaware Middle School state champion, and he's having a hell of a season. I think his record is 75 matches in. He was, how many did he win? 54 and 21.
Wow.
Yeah, and all he said was, "Damn, 21! I lost 21 times." I said, "Well, we had to drive far to get you beat 21 times, son. So that was a good thing."
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a amazing amount of work by him that he's putting into his craft, but an amazing amount of dedication by you to be there for your son. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, we. I guess you don't realize, and you would know this, how much time being in the gym really does consume, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you want to be at that type of a level, like at any professional sport or even good at any hobby, it takes a lot of your time. So
Sure.
when I decided 2 years ago that I wasn't going to compete anymore, it wasn't as hard to find some time to get back into coaching him and pushing him to that level and saying some of those things in his ear, like your competition ain't in this gym or in this state or,
Right.
maybe not even in this country.
Right.
And some of my friends and kids will say they think that that's crazy, but I just believe in speaking those kind of things into existence.
Sure.
So I don't think anybody
I mean, that's what I used to
holds
say
you
to
back,
you all
right?
the time, right? Because, that's the one thing that helped me when I was coming up is that it wasn't worth saying, like I knew I had a goal to be on the Olympia stage, right? I saw Flex Wheeler in 1993 and that's where I want to be. So for me to come into the gym and think what this guy over here is doing didn't make a whole lot of sense because he wasn't going to be on the Olympia stage. So immediately I found a coach, and in a different part of the country, and I was willing to travel because, again, dating myself, there were no digital anything at that point. There was no
drive there.
There wasn't even a digital camera. You were 1 hour photoing that thing and then mailing it to them. And so I had to go up there, and what pushed me to do that is we did our first competition at a national level, like here in Delaware. I mean, I was a shit. Went to the at 19 years old, I did the AMBC Delaware Juniors and won that, and then I did the Open, and there was, at that time, bodybuilding for the natural organizations in Delaware was huge. And there was close to 30 guys in our category, and I'm 19 years old, I took second. So, I was like, shoot.
Shouldn't tell me I wasn't.
Yeah, you want to do it. I'm 19 years old, right? I'm beating guys that are 30. And as the natural athlete. So, but then I went to the nationals, and out of maybe 15 juniors, I end up in 5th. And my other guy who worked out in the gym with me, I ended up in 4th, he ended up in 5th. And I remember, we were way bigger than everybody else, but we were nowhere the conditioning of everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, young too, right?
Everyone's the same age. Juniors met 22 and under. So we were all the same age. And I'm looking at these cats, and they look crazy conditioned. And I'm thinking, I remember talking to one guy who won it, and I was like, are you natural? He's like, yeah. And then I started talking to him about his diet, and his was completely different than anything I'd ever done, seen, heard about. And so I started me and my family were at breakfast the next morning, and I was kind of down, shit, I thought I was going to do better than this. And the head judge comes up to me and goes, I need you to train with me. He's like, you should wipe everybody out on the stage. Your genetics are too good to be in 4th place. And so I started going to see him. His name is CJ Bouchard. And he not only became a huge mentor for me in bodybuilding, he also taught me how to run my training business. And but that's how I kind of got a push into getting to the upper echelon. So I never really saw, immediately, and this is where I got it from, we did the AMBC Nationals Juniors, and I won it. And the guy who didn't decide to go with me, who stayed just with the coaches, there's no shade on the coaches in Delaware, it's just we didn't have the information provided to us, and there was no Google to do it at the time. He didn't place. So I ended up winning, he didn't place. And I remember thinking to myself, all right. Immediately my coach goes, we're doing the Muscle Mania. So now it was no longer about Delaware even, because I had just went up to Boston and beat all those guys up in New York and Connecticut and Virginia. All these people were up there, Florida. Now they're like, let's go to Muscle Mania. So different level immediately the next week. Go to fucking Muscle Mania and get 19th out of 40-something guys. Because he's like, you're not doing the novice. Everyone here is like, you should do the novice. Getting out there, I should have done novice. I should have done novice. But I get out there, and it's kind of like us, right? We didn't say, all right, well, you turn pro as a master, so we're going to do a lower show. We're going to do New York Pro.
Yeah,
boom, out the gate, right? And we go up there, and we got, pushed around a little bit. But our next show, we come back, and you're the best conditioned guy. You're smaller, but you're the best conditioned guy in the show, And Chris Aceto's coming up and like, that's your guy?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Right?
Man.
Flex Lewis, that's your guy, His legs are huge. So it's so immediately we're noticed, you notice, and it's like you just look to say, shoot as high as you can shoot.
Absolutely.
And I think by you pushing your son and saying competition's not here, he's not going to feel that level of pressure when he's facing a guy that same state, because he's thinking world champion.
Oh yeah, that's our goal.
Right, world champion.
Yes.
Right, that's a whole different mindset though, right? It's a whole different mindset because what I always caution people to do is don't set your goals too low, right? You played at the highest level in your sport, right? So, and immediately, even as a bodybuilder, you're like, I'm doing Olympia.
I did.
Amateur Olympia, I'm gonna do it. I don't care whether I'm natty or not. I'm doing that shit.
And I did it natty.
So you're like,
I didn't finish last either.
So it's funny that, natty, this, that. Listen, there's nothing that ever will take the place of hard work.
Facts.
And I'll tell you something that I've never told anyone, and they can listen on the camera. I went to nationals with no name, and no one knew who I was, and I didn't take drugs. I passed the piss test, and I won with a perfect score.
Nice.
And then they had to say that I turned pro as a master's. That was the excuse.
Right.
But those very same people, they never even went to their pro debut.
That's it.
They quit. They
That's
gave
it.
up. You know,
I'm
I
not-
had guys say, "Well, maybe you should have done the New York Pro, for your confidence." I said, "Dude, I'm 37 years old.
Bingo.
I'm married. I have children and a business. I'm extremely confident.
That's it.
I'm not where I went there because what if I never have that opportunity again?
That part.
You have to pay to go.
Yeah.
They let me in.
yeah.
That's
So
it.
that's why I went there. My big goal was to go to the Arnold. Like I didn't become a pro bodybuilder because I watched it as a little kid.
Right.
I watched him, man. He'll tell you. I don't have no bodybuilding friends. I got Fred.
Right.
I never cheered for anyone else. I didn't necessarily like anyone else. I had him.
Right.
No one else believed in me. They got another little Italian guy with skinny legs. He wouldn't answer the phone when we called. And where'd he end up? I don't know. I never seen him. He gave up before I got to him. So it is what it is. I had a lot of fun. I love training. I like this, goofing off, arguing with your boys, seeing who's the strongest, who can go after they get tired.
That's it.
Like the going to battle, like,
That's
bro, we're
what-
lifting weights.
That's it.
Like we don't tackle each other.
I was
Just,
the other day. We talk a lot about the natty versus enhanced, and just from the standpoint of where I am at my age, I just don't see a benefit in it. And he thinks it is a good idea. I don't know.
I think everybody over 40 should be on some TRT. Go ahead.
So here's the thing, right?
I don't know what that means.
I got my blood work done, and I'm still in 90th percentile.
Yeah.
So I still believe that I can win the Mr. America. Period. Full stop. It's the biggest natty show that's across all divisions. So I'm going to do it again this year. So, but I want to do it as a pro, not as amateur. So my goal is earn a pro card in June, July, and win the title in October.
Well, I think to understand where my head's at with that is, for instance, I have tremendous respect for all bodybuilders that compete at the highest level, because no matter natty, not natty, you are suffering to get to that level of conditioning.
Facts.
You suffer to get to a point where you can win any show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So respect is always there. My issue came with, one, as a natural athlete, I was crazy strong.
Right.
World champion in powerlifting, all that stuff. So I did all that stuff. And I didn't even think. At that time, my whole gym was natural. I was AMBC, which is OCB now. I was natty to the core.
Mm-hmm.
Even had somebody tell me at a Gold Gym convention when I owned one, that ain't real bodybuilding. If you ain't AMPC, it ain't real bodybuilding. I'm like, fuck you. Yes, it is, right? So I don't have anything against natural athletes. But being on the other side of it and seeing the opportunities that are available and the things we got to see together do.
They pay the freaks.
Yeah, it's there's real money in it when you develop your niche, real money. And the thing is, but here's what's more important. You're killing yourself to get in this condition to compete in an auditorium that's going to bring 500 people if you're lucky, right? Maybe at the World Championships you might get 1,000, might, right? And as a enhanced athlete, who it's definitely possible to do it 100% healthy, you're competing in front of 11,000 people. You're traveling the world.
Sure.
All different countries want you. And it's the opportunities are just so much different. And but with the age of social media, you have every opportunity, natural enhanced as well,
Bingo.
if you're willing to build that audience. But for me, it was about being on the Olympia stage.
Sure.
I went to the MPC Nationals after doing the the Musclemania Super Body, and I saw the difference in the amount of people,
Absolutely.
the level of notoriety you were getting at the NPC Nationals. Was like, I'm competing against guys from Hungary, all different countries in Europe. They're coming over here, and as a pro in Musclemania, you get 10 grand to win the highest level competition, and at the Olympia, you win 400,000. Like,
it's a big difference. You
It's a
win
big
$5,000. Mr. America prize is $5,000 if you win first.
right.
As a pro.
So
You win $5
I
grand.
never won anything.
You know, and that's and I got to tell you,
Still had a
I
blast.
didn't win anything at the Olympia, right? I won the fact that I was on the stage with people who were enhanced and I was enhanced, and maybe in history of the world, 5,000 people were on the stage, amateur and pro, maybe 5,000 people. I qualified by winning Philly, and I was there. So I love it, and to me, like, I compete in powerlifting. I do it. I compete in natural in the WMBF and got world records for doing powerlifting. But this is the notch I want. I want.
yeah, I mean,
I want the Mr. America.
I respect that, and I think you should get that. Again, for me, it was about, I knew from day one, because I offered a pro card when I won the Mr. America for Napa.
Uh-huh.
I got offered a pro card, and the person I was with at the time looked at me and said, because in the moment you're like, I can be a pro now. She's like, that's never what you talked about.
Right.
It's not about being a pro. It's about being in the Olympia stage.
Right.
And that was always the goal. And that's all I focused on. It's like being at the Olympia stage, and it's crazy because the laser focus we took into those shows.
Yeah.
And how when you were training, I was training, like, it was just crazy. You could see the difference because we trained for your pro card, and I was pretty focused, but I wasn't focused like we were when I was training for that Arnold.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was a different level, right? Like, and it was, and I think you trained with me when we did. You weren't training with me yet when I did the Arnold Asia right before I got sick, right?
No, after that, I started after that.
Yeah. Now you started when I was trying to come back, and then we crushed it going into. You had your pro card, and then we started training really hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was training with you and Paul before I won.
No,
That,
you were training like an animal.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, I kept getting sick.
Right.
In that
Yeah,
May
you were
and
able to
June.
get it. Yeah, I think you had a conversation with Flex, didn't you? You guys got to the bottom of something.
Yeah.
Right?
That company. Yeah, that company. Yeah. So that's one thing you ain't got to worry about being natural. Is fruits and berries ain't gonna ever make you sick. So that's
You're right about that.
yeah, right. So, but that was a good time, man. So when I look at some of the guys we train now, and you say, what is that difference that gave you the edge to like do everything perfect? Because you did it one year and you weren't perfect,
Right.
and then you came back, you're like, I'm gonna be perfect. So what mentally changed for you?
I lost.
Doesn't change all people, but so tell me in your mind what you're like.
So I guess if long short of that would be like, you should always. I have a certain standard that I hold myself to. When you walk out there under those bright lights, you can immediately know what corners you cut. So I was good at cutting, but I wasn't good at overeating in the off season. So that's where I excelled. And as you train, the harder you train, the easier it is to eat, the more you get used to it. And you're not going to put together 20 weeks to bring your family up there to disgrace them. If I'm going to sacrifice, now, like when some people go to the gym, they go to the gym. When I went to the gym, I fucking lived here.
Right.
I was here in the morning because you're not going to push yourself as hard at home on your cardio. So I got in the fucking car and I drove here before I ate, and I ate cold food after I got off the cardio. And then I went to work, and I work outside and I work hard. And I didn't have time to stop in the middle of the day. But when it counted, would you tell me you need to train in the middle of the day? So then I'd have to stop in the middle of the day. Then I hired extra guys to do my job for me. just all for this one very specific goal. Never missed a meal, and literally smoked everyone at nationals, smoked them all, and then came back, and it's funny because what did you just say? You could have had a NAVA card or something, right? So I had a guy that was kind of following me around that he kept telling me and calling me saying, I want to interview you, I want to interview you. I do a magazine, and I'm like, dude, who the fuck reads magazines anymore? The Instagram shit was getting very popular. But he wanted me to come out here and say that I was natural because I was in a drug-tested division. And I did well in I don't remember which one I got the pro card in. It might have not even been
Team
the drug.
Universe.
But I won the open.
Right.
I won the non-drug tested class is where I got my pro card because I think I competed in that one first. And then I got second too.
Right, yeah.
Because they don't let you get two first.
Right.
So he wanted me to take an interview saying that I didn't take steroids and all that shit. And that's when I was like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not. Because I don't think you should talk about any of your personal business. I think Jose Canseco is a rat. He should be unable to speak. And the people, just keep it to yourself. Whatever you do is your business. Sure. Kids on the gym floor, they want to ask you a question about this. I say, son, when you turn pro, you can ask me pro questions. But my advice is I turn pro without taking drugs.
Yeah, I agree.
If you can't win natural, you ain't going to want to stand next to me enhanced.
Bingo.
Right?
Bingo.
If you can't do it without it, you won't do it with it.
That's it.
Because the reason why you're not winning is because you probably train soft, and you probably don't eat, and you probably spend time on the internet fucking filtering your pictures instead of working on training.
That's it.
There ain't nothing on here that's going to help you.
Remember when you told me about that? You're like, you can make yourself look better if you post your pictures like this. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed.
No. I mean, dude, I went to a professional bodybuilding show and stood next to the guys that I used to like their pictures. And then I beat them and took one of them to dinner. Who was like my hero. I'm like, dude, I love you, like one of my favorite figures in the 212. Want to go out and get something to eat? He's like, yeah, you beat my ass. I'll let you buy me a steak.
Nice.
That's funny. Like that's like the first time I got on stage and was like,
I was there.
oh yeah,
I was
you were
fucking there,
Remember
dude.
I beat like Johnny
Jackson, everybody. We were definitely going to the
Freeman.
Olympia
I was
after
like,
that.
oh man, I was up there like a little kid.
It was awesome, dude. That was the Connecticut Pro, right?
Yeah, it was.
You and Europa. Me and Chris drove up. Yeah, I'll never forget that, man. That was your pro
I had
debut.
some good support at that show. Yeah,
Damn right.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was a
I'm
good
trying
time.
to figure out how I can get to Hungary in Bucharest.
Oh, it's in Romania.
Romania,
yeah,
rather.
Yeah.
In August.
I mean, it's funny because like you're saying it, G's saying it, and it's like, it's almost like when you're training for something like that, you have to think like having so many people supporting you actually makes you, so you're like, I can't fail.
Right.
You're doing it for something other than yourself.
Right, and that always
It gets
makes you
bigger
work
than
harder.
you.
Yep.
When it's bigger than
Right.
you, you're always willing to work a little harder, don't you think?
Absolutely. I put.
You gotta win so you pay pay back for this damn plane ticket. It's
Yeah.
expensive as fuck. And then we
was-
go over there, gotta bring a gun, it's crazy.
Funny
Whole
that
war
you
and
say
shit.
that. That's another big thing about me being in the 212s.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of fun? It's awesome, man. There's nothing cooler than walking through the training center. You like peak week,
Yeah.
dropping everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wow.
Yeah.
But I can only compete 3 times in America.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts out in like New Zealand, Prague, Romania, like most of the shows. I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, we share it with the whole world. It isn't the American League. It's not like football where they call it you win the world championship, but it's only in America.
Right.
But yeah, there's not a lot of shows to go to, so it's.
212, yeah.
And there's not a lot of pay,
Nope.
so it's just a balancing act. I got what I could got. I had a blast. The relationships that I got out of it, they can never take those things away from me. When I go and show up at those places, some of the the great bodybuilders love to come over and hang out with us. They're my guy is Sean Carita. No matter where I see him at, he's gonna stop talking to you and come over to me. No offense,
Nice.
but that's my guy. You know what I mean? And he'll be like, "I can't believe you stopped," and I'm like, "Thanks, Sean." It's the same thing he always does. Make me feel bad, but
Well, I think because you're the one of the guys that had the genetics to, take it to where, if you weren't going to be a Mr. Olympia, you could have definitely been fighting for a top 5 spot up there. And the reason why I say that is because with only really one real year of training like that, the amount of muscle you put on was just crazy.
Pretty scary.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the amount of effort you put into it and the way we were pushing. And but here's the question. Do you think if I didn't get injured, we would have took it further? Like, do you think me getting injured and not being able to train with you anymore, do you think, and that's not traveling together and that's not like doing, because we were like
Maybe,
inseparable.
I don't know. I think COVID was really bad. I wouldn't pin it to. I mean, we were still here. We were still training.
Yeah.
I mean, you cut me loose kind of before the first New York Pro. Like, you kind of got to find your way. Just like when we would go to an expo, you would kind of move me towards somebody and then, not really speak for me. And I think a lot of my stubbornness is why I wasn't successful. I'm fucking cranky, bro. I'm not a mingler. Like, I didn't come in here to hang out and make friends. Like, I wanted to compete, Like, I didn't grasp the camaraderie part of it, Like, I wasn't mean to anybody. And, like, when you're backstage with the fellow competitors and everybody's hungry, I was friends with people and everything. But, like, no, I didn't have a sponsor, I didn't take nice to those people. And it probably didn't work out well for me. I mean, I know the very exact moment when I didn't go kiss the pinky ring. I met JM. He wanted me to come up and take pictures at the weirdo place up there in fucking Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. No offense. These are my own personal thoughts, not the thoughts or opinions of anybody else in this video. These are my own personal thoughts.
Right.
But I didn't come up and kiss the pinky ring because... So I met this guy, I was there to hand out the trophies at a show that the 6 months before I won the overall.
Right.
Now here I am as a professional bodybuilder. I'm handing out the trophies at this show. Mm-hmm. So I was backstage and I was just checking out the competitors, and there was a guy there, and I guess he was like giving an interview, and he's like talking to somebody, and he's like, "You're talking through my interview," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there." And he's like, "Are you even supposed to be backstage?" And he's like super nasty to me. And I like had a badge on that said I was a pro. And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, look, I got invited here." And he's like, "I'm calling Jim Mannion. I'm telling him that you're doing this and you're doing that." So I don't know any of these people. Like I said, I know Fred. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck, this guy's going to call the fucking league president on me. I'm like, you know what? If you're going to call him, make sure you're ready to fucking come see me because you're going to have to leave then. and JM sees me say that to him, and I guess he liked it, right? So he's like, "Dude, I'll throw him out of here if you want." And I'm like, no, that guy's fine. It was just a misunderstanding. So me and him got to talking back and forth. I knew his son from wrestling. Yeah. And it's like such a small world, right? So that's when I get this guy's card, and he tells me he wants to take pictures of me and shit. And I'm like, gay, super weird, right?
Well, so right, now, these again are the opinions.
And are my opinions. So I come home, right, and he's like, "How did everything go?" And I'm like, "This guy gave me his card." And he tells me how much of a big deal that is. And I'm like, "Yeah, I ain't going to make it up there because I got to go to work tomorrow."
I'm like, "Ed, you're going to do the show. We should get a photo shoot." "Yeah, sure. Let's do the next set." Like, "Ed, you should get pictures done."
Listen, I'm a big believer in sometimes, every time is an opportunity, right? You never know who you're going to meet, when you're going to meet them, and you never know what they're going to be able to do to impact your career or your life going forward. Every time we travel, go to a place, listen, I'm not afraid to talk to nobody. I will talk to them and ensure that the next time that they see my name, they're, "Hey, Walt, how's it going?" It's one of those things, bro. I
talked to him.
The vice president of the whole IFBB, fuck you. That's the way it
Actually, he's just a creepy photographer, and he's under investigation right now. And I'm an excellent judge of character. Excellent judge of character.
You're an excellent judge of character. But here's the thing, right? I never thought you should have done anything other you're doing than this. I always was like, if they get to know you, the world's gonna love you.
Bro, I sent my not to cut you off. You know what made me so mad at him? I sent him the video about my son. He didn't fucking reply.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so
You took it, yeah. That became a personal.
it's personal now, cuz now it's, now I don't like any you or your family.
Right.
And I still did well regardless if they're wanting
Right.
me to be involved or not, because I'm in here now. I won.
Yeah.
So-
Can't get me out.
Your kids, man, like your son is a 2-time district champion. Your other son is running cross country, and that would be and doing really well, which would be great for any kid. But it's exceptional for your children because they're overcoming some challenges that most kids don't deal with. And so you want to tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yep.
Because you've done amazing. You're an amazing father.
So, like I said, that's an incredibly long story, but the beginning of that was as I came back to the gym. I've always kind of known Fred. We've loosely trained since you were at the Golds. And then my first son was born with a rare retinal degenerative disease called Leber's congenital amaurosis, which means that he doesn't have fully developed rods and cones in his eyes, and that they were actually dying. So early onset is like tunnel vision, no night vision. Things are very blurry, and it's like I said, it's degenerative. So he would have been blind in his early 20s. So we get this diagnosis at 6 months old. We're lucky enough to get him into a clinical trial in Philadelphia, where they were treating dogs. They had some promising things going on. And through gene mapping, he actually he carried the RPE65 gene that they were running in the clinical trial. So he winds up probably like around 5 years old qualifying for this clinical trial. And then they start testing on him for like another year. And then he was lucky enough to get the actual gene therapy instead of placebo. So that was incredible, like a major miracle. And then I had another son. He's born, same eye condition. So now there is no clinical trial for him because we're in the waiting process. So I think that we started under Obama with that. And we had good traction. And then we changed, and that was under the end of him, and then we had some good traction going into the first term, and then the second term was when they were thinking about really passing it, and that's when my wife got that article published in the Wall Street Journal. So it was like during all those cuts, and we're going to pull this and pull that funding, and cutting government funding is cutting Medicaid, is one of them. So this wound up being an $850,000 surgery. So, it's going here, it's going there. Like those bills, it goes in and out of Congress a few times. And there was some major people in the University of Pennsylvania that they have a lot of political connections. It goes through because the article, the interview, do you want to spend, what do you think it costs for my son to stay blind forever versus treating him and him being self-sufficient? So at that point, it kind of became a no-brainer. And then they licensed it, and we found out on Christmas, man, like sitting in the house on Christmas, that Nicholas would receive the treatment. And they weren't allowed to tell us because we would have, they wasn't smart enough to even think about it, but I would have known to buy stock, is what I probably should have done. When I first started having blind children that were being cured, I should have bought stock in the company that is now BioNTech. They bought that cure for $3 billion.
Wow.
The first people that invented it were the doctors that treated my children. They gave the rights away because it would have been a conflict of interest for them to own the patent and do the clinical trial. Right. So they donated it to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. They built a $60 million ophthalmology wing for these doctors. And he was like, that was really cool. And then they sold it for $300 million. And the doctor was like, he's a funny doctor. He was like, well, that kind of fucking stuff. And he was like, and then they sold it for $3 billion. Jeez. So, and he couldn't buy into it, like But it's like a real miracle, and that is where all of the maniac leg pressing and the, I thought maybe I even brought like the best out of you, like, I mean, I really, really, really thought that I was going to cure my kids lifting weights, and I think I made a platform, I put a voice out there for them, and by the grace of God, they're cured, so it's pretty crazy,
Yeah, that's powerful stuff right there. It's like weight transcends anything we're trying to do with our bodies, but the underlying theme is your why was stronger than any challenge that could have put in front of you.
For sure.
So, 405 for 20 reps was just what had to happen because you knew you had a purpose.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a matter of, and I think this is what I was getting at earlier. This sport is truly about discipline, because that last 5 weeks, how many times do you feel like doing anything?
How many times did you have to come rescue me? That's how you knew we were doing good. Listen, I'm not going to tell you that my wife wasn't the support team and Fred didn't have to rescue me. If you aren't under the table crying, you ain't peeled enough.
Yeah. The wife called me and said, he's thinking about not doing it. I'm like, what? Give me the phone. Where is he?
It puts you in a dark place, man.
Telling you,
the manipulation of your calories, man.
Everything. It's the realest. That last 28, 35 days, bro. It makes you like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Because you said you would.
And
men
then,
don't back down.
And then it settles in for me. It's because I'm lucky enough to be able to do it. Yeah. People don't realize the fact that you have to keep everything else in order in addition to balancing, because you still have to be a husband, right? Still have to be a father. Same
still
thing
gotta
for
go
you.
to work.
You still got to go to work every single day, and while the people see your eyeball sunken into your head, they see that you look like you're emaciated. You can't let them know how bad you feel. They still got to get the best version of you, and you got to put your best foot forward every single day. That's something I don't think a lot of people even understand. Right? They can't.
Well, that's a
relate to
maturity
it.
aspect of going through it. I think that you possess that a lot of people don't. That whole side of you saying that I still got to give them the best I can. That's admirable, because a lot of people will say, "Get ready for a show. Don't expect much from me." And in a professional world where everyone's paying you to get your best,
That's right.
be their best, that doesn't fly.
Nope.
But it's funny because listening to you guys, I've had preps where I wasn't locked in, where it was optional to do certain things, and I remember I just got done the end of my season in 2013. Ended with a bang, beat a lot of people no one thought I would ever beat. And I'm going into 2014. Arnold, and the year before I was 7th, which anybody watched that show would know I could have been in the top 4. But I go into this show, and 13 weeks out, I'm on vacation in Florida with my family. And not like vacation where, beach vacation, because beach vacations you can do, right? Because you
Bring your own food.
bring your own food, you got your condo. It's really actually a really good thing to do when you're on prep, because other than your family going out to eat, which you deal with them eating other stuff anyway all the time, it is not hard. You're on the beach, everything that's tempting, you see somebody looks like a slob eating it, so it's not really tempting anymore.
Right.
Because they're looking at you like, wow.
Right.
How do you look like that, right? So being at the beach is always motivating. Well, most people don't look at it.
Shaming normal people.
Right? Fat shamer. He's a fat shamer, guys. He's a fat shamer.
Definitely not a fat shamer.
Shame
because
yourself when you're fat.
because when we were
Shouldn't be my job.
Nah, but what I'm saying is, it's like when you're locked in, man, like none of that stuff fucking matters. Like you're not even thinking about cheating. like I had a person come up to me today and they're just like jonesing for peanut butter and jelly, and I'm like, stop. Like, we have goals here.
Yep.
That peanut butter and jelly is going to taste so good when you win.
Facts.
But
Could I ask you a question?
what?
With or without the peanut butter and jelly, how far away from being successful is said athlete? Is it like can I get a cheat meal when they're like 2 weeks on the diet athlete? Or, I mean, is it at least warranted, this complaint or this lust for peanut butter?
This person.
Because I like the peanut butter. I know where you can get with it.
I mean, listen.
It's too early to wait.
Everybody craves peanut butter on the diet when you're on it long enough, because something about that fat.
Yeah, it makes you think straight.
Right? You just want to have it, right? And yes, this person definitely is at a point in the diet where I can understand why she's craving it. But at the same time, stop asking, because you know as well as I do.
I already had it then.
Yeah.
You already ate it. You already had it.
I think you realize when you're coaching people, when you start to care for them and care about them and what they're going through, it's easier to do updates online.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah.
Because
that's how my updates were. Sorry, Ed. Couple more days. I don't see what I'm looking for. I'm like, you need to zoom in.
But when you're looking into your athlete's eyes and you can see how bad they're suffering in person, it's like, you need to be doing 2 hours of cardio a day. But you know what? Let's just take one out today and then we'll get back to it tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like you just feel empathy for them.
I wish I was the case for me.
Well, that's why
like,
so that's why I'm like, at the end, I'm like this, everything online. Send me all your updates online. I don't want to see you in person. Because, sometimes it becomes a,
Listen, I did good. I don't know what the rest of you clients are doing, but I've been told to stop training my legs before I work out so damn hard.
Yeah.
So, and I ate hella burgers. I got to eat. I ate a lot.
He never
I
told
was
me not to
willing
train
to die
legs, so, yeah.
I was willing to die on the treadmill. That's the difference between me. He goes, listen, eat as many burgers as you want, Ed.
Well, I think
in the off season.
Yeah. I think what happens is a lot of times, you hit a key point, right? I'm asking people to give me the most effort when the calories are low.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that is what a lot of people have a hard time with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone thinks like the diet. It's the diet's tough. But I think what's tougher is, how do you go in and push through really hard workouts when you don't even feel like lifting your head sometimes?
Yeah, that part.
That's what becomes the hardest piece. How do I make myself...
What motivates you? What pushes you through that?
Well, when you're locked in, none of that shit matters. It's
Nothing else
not an
matters.
option.
You dialed in.
It's not an option, right? It becomes options when you're not completely locked in. And, I say that when I go, like, I remember I'm sitting there one time, not many times, and I'm laying on the bed. I sit up and the room spins because you've had no carbs in like 3 or 4 days. You're just like, oh man, okay, I can do this. And take your cup of coffee, fat burner, drink some water, you jump on the cardio, and the first 5 minutes is horrible. Everything hurts. Everything's like, you're just like lethargic as hell. And then after you get to that 5 minutes, boom.
It's a wrap.
I'm
Unless
back.
you're going.
I'm going.
Kicking mediocrity right in the ass.
And you actually start feeling better. And then it stops.
That's the Goggins. I don't know. When I do my cardio, I it's a routine for me. Having David Goggins yell at me on YouTube. I have in my basement. I got a rotation. Bike, tread climber, stepper, both flex max trainer, and I just rotate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just dialed in, and I just hear David Goggins says, "Not today, motherfucker. Not today." When you're tired, you can take a day off. Just not today.
Oh. Stop the presses. He has something to say.
Side note, somebody we know, you said this last time, you mentioned David Goggins, and he said it again recently, and it's just irritating as shit.
What?
He says, when you listen to everybody doesn't need to be David Goggins because he destroyed his body, and look at him now. And hearing that from that person, it gets more annoying each time. One, because I read his book multiple times.
Right.
Both books.
Right.
And Goggins says himself, don't be me.
Right.
Be your best you.
Yep.
I do this because this is the most I can do for myself, period. And I take myself to that place. Hearing this person say, don't be like David Goggins, all I hear is, be mediocre.
That's it.
And it's just like,
Your ears are working.
it's just,
Yeah, you heard
it's
it.
so annoying to hear that. I don't even know David Goggins. Probably never meet the man. But the shit that he's went through, in general, to push himself to do,
Yeah, I mean, like,
Damn near
pick
anything.
a topic. He's gone through it.
Exactly.
He's a tough kid.
so
He's a man.
just wanted to stand
Good
on my
dude.
soapbox on that. Because he's
so-
done so much
You know,
in a short period of time.
Yeah.
and he did so much with the hole in his heart. He didn't even know.
Yes! That was like half his
Didn't
life.
even know.
I don't think there's any other Navy SEALs that didn't know how to swim when they got there.
Yep.
Been kicked out of buds a bunch of times because they couldn't swim and kept coming back. That's
And
pretty
ran on
impressive.
broken legs.
Broken
Yeah,
ankles
he's tough.
with duct
He's
tape.
definitely tough.
Tape the motherfuckers up. Roger that. That's all I hear. You
No.
know, it's what I hear. So when I get to a place when I'm 30 days out, 15 days out, and I still am going through the rigmarole, getting up, also I hear is you can either finish or you be like everybody else.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
But I will tell you this: finishing doesn't do the same in a race, or like just finishing isn't what you're aiming for.
Nope. No.
This ain't a just
It ain't.
finish.
It's
Bodybuilding ain't a just finish.
it's
This isn't a finish line you can crawl across.
That's
You
it.
gotta show up on that.
You gotta
finish
show up
looking good.
it's everything shows up. Everything is all the way out.
And this is another thing when you're that far down in the tubes, right?
Mhm.
When your coach says that you're allowed to have carbs before you even touch them, you feel better. I have friends in jail that laugh. It's all upstairs.
It is all upstairs.
It's all upstairs, and the guy who's tougher upstairs
Yep.
is the guy who can stay in the darker place longer.
Longer.
And that's him.
This is how you know it's upstairs because you'll be doing a workout and someone, either me looking at you guys or Jack would always look at me in here and they'll tell you how good you're starting to look. And all of a sudden, you feel like a different person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel like a different person. Like, all right.
That happened to me. We was in that fucking corner. We did take your shit off right here in the corner. This is a good light. It's like, you ready? Fuck it, let's go put more plates on.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the truth, you know. When
Yeah, like when you that it's the mental aspect of this
Yeah.
thing. Like I told the person today, I was like, stop telling yourself you're tired. You're not tired.
That's an emotion.
Right? Like
Yeah.
like you're eating food. It may not be what you want to eat, but you're eating food. You got people out there that survive on one meal a day.
yep.
Right? You got people out there that don't eat all day and they're for spiritual reasons. You got people out there that can't afford food and they're making it happen. You are eating 6 meals a day.
And you're tired.
You're not starving. You're not eating what you want, and you're not eating in the quantity you would like. But if I didn't tell you you had to eat this, and you just went out every day and said, "Oh, I want some fish and veggies. I want some steak and veggies. I don't want any carbs today," then you would feel fine. So it's not just the fact that you're depleted; it's the mental aspect of you can't have
Yeah.
what you want. You know, so
But you should always know what you can't be a victim of circumstances. You signed up for it.
right,
And you asked to be great.
right.
God heard you. And now this challenge is on the other side is your reward. You know, and the other thing is that my big motivating thing before my boys was my buddy Stevie that passed away.
Yeah.
You know, so like if you have the capability of being great and you don't, it's disrespectful. I believe it's a sin. You know, if you don't max out your best you're being disrespectful to the greatest gift ever, and that's waking up. You know, if your eyes popped open, you can be special.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? That's all you need.
6, and it doesn't even take long. It's like in the arc of life, a bodybuilding prep, even if you're the fattest motherfucker walking, 9 months.
Yeah. A year.
Relative. Okay,
But
12 months.
either way.
In the
And
arc of
it's a
life,
blink of an eye.
in the arc of life, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, in today's world, any human being that's able to put their head down for even 90 days, you're leaps and bounds ahead of all these other lazy people out there. Walter, why do you get up and go down and drop to the DMV to work? You can do it up here. You can work with Fred at the training center every day. You're right, I could. But if Fred locks this up and I build a big enough reputation in DC, then we put together something really special. It could change how the whole area sees what we do.
And we really run the DMV.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I go down there and they pay more. So you know they got more money down there than the guy in Delaware too. You know it's enough.
I work on the main line, Walt.
Yeah, so you know, yeah, it's enough money for everybody.
You know, I travel right to the money.
Yeah, I drive right there. You know,
They say the main line's like the East Coast.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, like
Very cool up there.
Cisco. What is it? Silicon Valley.
Silicon
right?
Valley.
Yeah.
It's the money that works in Philly.
Yeah.
That's where they live at.
Yeah. True story. I had E63. Just bought paper tags. Went to dinner. On the way back. Coming down 676? 476 rather. Coming down 476. And I don't know, maybe 80 miles an hour. It's E63, so you know I'm getting on it, I just got it. And come around the curve and I see a pothole. But I'm going too fast, it's too late. Hit the pothole. Bam! Bump. Pull over. Great, no problem. Join the back. Up, get ready to change it out. Change the tire. Get back in the driver's seat. It still says flat tire. Go back outside and look. Fucking rear tire flat too. Both tires, one spin. So they towed me to the Mercedes-Benz at the main line.
Oh, it was way more expensive than where you bought that car at.
It didn't matter. I was in the car business. That didn't matter, bro. I just called the GM. He called in and they sent the lot man up and they gave me a car off the lot and they put my two tires on and the next morning and that was that. But you know, it was you know, mainline houses are inspirational. To say the least, they're inspirational.
It's nice up there.
Yeah. What was the point of that?
That was on the main line. He's talking about being on the main line. It was on the main line.
No, you said you owned the DMV.
Is that like-
Yeah, and then he talked about the main line and
They got money in
Oh,
the,
just fucking-
in the
Yeah,
DMV.
that was the point of it. 'Cause
I was happy.
He
that
wanted to
was
tell the
my-
listeners he
yeah.
had
Flat
that
hour,
E63.
flat tire.
I had that
Yeah.
E60. Listen, I used to have that E63.
Yeah. What's an E63?
It's a very nice Mercedes.
Oh, gotcha.
A handmade motor is a V8 that will eat alive any car on the road.
Mm. Yeah, well, whatever. I don't know about sprint cars, but
Yeah, well.
God bless. That's awesome. To be able to afford it that's dope.
That's the important part.
That's the,
Yeah.
Have owned it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Maniac.
I'm all out of whack now. Rashad, say something, please.
All calories aren't good calories, Rashad.
That's it.
Yeah, so, how do you feel about fitting your macros?
You know, this is kind of something that I don't want to tell you guys, but I'll tell you, I pay a coach. I don't count anything. I don't do macros. I don't follow a diet anymore. I basically eat what I used to eat, just a whole lot less of it. But I recommend subbing that out to someone who cares.
That's it.
Learn how to compartmentalize so
Yep.
you have more free time.
And
you're never going to be hard on yourself like your coach will be hard on you, and you'll be like, oh, maybe I could just have a little more. So it never works.
Right. How long did it take you guys for your family to truly understand what you're doing and not do this anymore? You can have something. You can eat something.
Yeah.
Are they still doing it?
Not now. They've adapted. Like my first show, when I did the Maryland Masters in 2018, they were every day when I would stop by my mom's house or whatever. But by the following Thanksgiving, so 11 months, 12 months later, they would literally have separate shit when I would come over. Like, Walter, I know it's Thanksgiving, but I know you're in prep for a show. Your stuff is in the green pan on the side, It don't have any pork in it. There's no nothing. Just green. Season them how you want. They go your stuff on the side. And so now it's. What was funny?
What was it there for? It should have been coming out of the bag when you got there.
Well, I was Thanksgiving dog. It is what it is. But it's off season. I'm just no show.
Bro, listen.
Well,
listen.
I will tell you this then: if you were in the off season on no show, damn fun fucker, I'm eating Thanksgiving.
Well, here's the thing, right? But why you get from me, once I got into lifestyle, I know how I used to eat. I mean, my breakfast in the carb was 2 sausage, egg, and cheese sandwiches, 2 orders of French toast sticks, and a large cherry Coca-Cola. That's my breakfast.
That's terrible.
Then for the rest of the day, peanut M&Ms and cherry Coke all day. For dinner, I would stop at Carrabba's. Shrimp scampi toast, minestrone soup, lasagna, Grey Goose and cranberry, and dessert rosa. I would have the same thing every single. But I was sitting the same. See, I was like Norman Cheers. I'd walk in the Carrabba's right on 202. Hey, Walt! They moved people out of my seat.
Damn.
Because every day, me and Dan were best friends. Used to go to his house. I mean, one time it snowed, right? And I called like, "Yo, you open?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "All right, see you in a minute. Get there."
So why
open
you
the
so
door.
mad at Carrabba's and not them sandwiches in the morning and all them damn sodas? If
Listen.
you cut all that out, you allowed to have a Carrabba's.
But see, I cut it when I
You can't
got when I
compare
made
Carrabba's.
it.
You know, it ain't your fault, Carrabba.
Listen. By the time I figured out that all calories weren't the same, I know that I have an addictive personality. So if I go back to eating enough of that shit,
You'll be back on.
it'll be back eating it. Then it'll be another. So instead of sliding down that hill,
You stay pretty clean.
I just stay.
My mom, he
I
said,
stay clean.
Thanksgiving gonna put him off the edge, my mom.
Right?
He said it. It's on the internet now.
That's
Will
it.
be.
That's
Own
it.
Own
That's it. So I don't know, man, but they've adapted. Like it was crazy. Is all of my family is actively losing weight because of the influence I had without pushing it on them.
Yeah, they just cut
They
it,
just
cut it back a
follow
little
the
bit.
lead.
Yeah, they
Right.
say it. A little more water, a little more walking. I have this conversation with people all the time. So you're telling me that you go to the gym and that you exercise, right? But you're heavy set. So I can tell you that you can continue to eat and do whatever you're doing, and if you just exercise, you should be losing weight. You know, like I know how to really go off the handle on a diet. You know, gain 30, 40 pounds, be sick from eating. I know how to spend $200 on taco night without drinking. I mean, Fred and I used to eat. So I know when someone's lying because I know what it took to look like shit. I recognize shit.
But, okay. Take example A. They come to the gym. They do a total body workout. Do 30 minutes of cardio. They get off. They got a little sweat on them. I worked out today, and I'm going to go eat my shit. Versus someone that's going in. So, a lot of times, the same person that is going to go and eat garbage is not really going in when they train.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So, like, the amount of energy, like, you can see it. I'm going to give you a perfect thing. You can see it in powerlifting. Even the powerlifters that are a little overweight, the ones that train at a high level still have crazy shape.
Oh yeah, they have a
Delts.
little belly.
Crazy
Just a belly, yeah.
arms, huge legs. I mean, they'll have all 3 heads showing in their quads because they're just so dense from all the heavy lifting. And they might be drinking every night, eating whatever every night. But
They go hard on the
because they train so hard, you can still see the level.
Well, and they're probably getting the right amount of calories
And that's the key.
No, they're not.
on top of the shit.
No,
They're
man.
probably still
Nah.
getting
Dude, I
the
watch
right amount.
Half Thor and I watch Brian Shaw. Them dudes eat 10K a day.
Bro, no.
That's for
15K
TV.
a
That's
day.
for TV, man.
Bruh.
I mean, come on. We hung out with Brian. Like,
Bruh.
Brian-
Yeah, but they're not eating trash at 10,000 calories.
No,
a day.
but they're eating a lot of good food. on
yeah,
top.
they're
But-
blending it at so many drinks.
The average novice powerlifter
Uh-huh.
that is competing at a regional level,
Mm-hmm.
if they train hard and they're hitting decent lifts, you can still see shape,
For sure.
for sure.
right? And they're not following the diet of any sort. They're eating a lot of food. right?
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is they are eating a ton of shit with it, right? Because I remember being in that lifestyle, and Kurt Kolosky is one of the best powerlifters out there. He had a steady diet at McDonald's and Wendy's consistently with a whole lot of beer, and he had a six pack, right? But he was massive. I mean, he didn't have a six pack. He could see some abs and crazy traps, but the amount of weight that guy and the way he trained, he was a fucking animal. He was an animal.
He was burning the calories.
He needed a lot of calories to be able to get through those crazy ass workouts. So what I'm saying is, I think a lot of people will say you can't outwork a bad diet, which you can when it comes to getting tight, shredded, and even losing a good amount of weight. But you can be in decent shape. You won't be obese if you're training really, really hard. Because I think once you start training really, really hard, your body doesn't even crave the same stuff.
So I only challenge that to say that in every gym, in every major metropolitan area in America, is a studio where there are overweight people doing Zumba, doing less meals, and they're working every bit as hard as they possibly
they're
can.
doing cardio, bro. They're not training.
Listen, I hear you.
So-
Doesn't matter.
so
They're
they're doing
still
cardio.
burning cardio. Yeah, still burning calories. Yeah.
Okay, how about this? Do you really ever see anybody in CrossFit that don't lose weight?
Of course not. Everybody loses weight in CrossFit.
Thank you.
Sure.
Because they're training their asses
Resistance,
off
absolutely.
with resistance and cardio.
But I think that that's not analogous because CrossFit will throw people out on day one. Not throw them out, but they'll quit on day one because people who do CrossFit have already been an athlete.
But what I was saying was, you can have a person that's training consistently that's going to be overweight and sloppy.
Sure.
What I'm saying is, because they're probably not training with the right intensity.
That's what
Okay.
I think that's what I assume
Right.
is that training means intensity.
Right.
So
So-
some people go through the motions and count
Right.
it
Now,
as exercise.
now, what's the premise behind cardio? Right? To be really good at cardio, has to happen?
Heart rate got to get up.
Your body has to be more efficient at utilizing nutrients to get the same amount of work done.
Sure.
That by itself lends itself to say you can be obese and do cardio.
Right.
Because there are people that run 5Ks that are quite unhealthy looking,
Sure.
but they have great cardiovascular conditioning.
Sure.
So those two can be. It can be true that you can be overweight and look out of shape, yet be in cardiovascular good condition. Those two can be the same. You very rarely see somebody who lifts and trains at an elite level that then turns around and they look completely out of shape. Like, I have guys that are not lean by any stretch of the imagination, but their shape,
Sure.
they look.
That's me right now.
So that's the thing though. You said the elite
I'm all shape.
level.
I'm all
But we're
potential again. I love
that's still the top
I don't mean
5-10%.
elite like they're doing elite shit. I just mean like they're training with take elite out. They're training with above average intensity in the gym. What's your take on it, Rashad?
Shit, that's me right now.
No, it's not. Shut up.
Nah, real shit though. It's just like there's plenty of people in here, like that I've seen shit since I've joined the gym. Look exactly the same, but all they do primarily is touch a few machines and do cardio.
Right.
Still overweight. But then I know some people in here who are overweight, but has not changed, but strong as shit and performing.
But even those people that are overweight, they still have some shape.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they have a shape, but that shape hasn't changed, and it's a good shape because they're training intensively.
Yeah.
So it's just, but a diet would help them get better. Like, perfect example, somebody we know, before he started following the diet, eating like 2 times a day, and was still doing relatively good as a powerlifter. Relatively, and mind you, just started at what, like 35? Whatever? No, 33. But it barely ate. Did good first time, kept it going, getting stronger. Started following the diet, got even stronger.
Yeah.
So, Truth right there.
Right. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that they won't get stronger. I'm just saying.
Well, the athletic.
But if I think it's who you're talking about, this person looks entirely different in a 2-year period.
Yeah.
So you're saying I can drink? I should train for beer? Is that what we're saying? I'm allowed to have beers and a 6-pack?
As long as you bought off the shelf.
Well, I'll even say that. This person drinks religiously. Still managed to put up numbers.
Right.
That doesn't have anything to do with your leanness, though.
No.
Yeah.
I think, the leanness would have to come from fully following the diet.
Right. I'm
Listen,
not saying you're going to be in shape like beach ready.
No.
You know, I'm not saying you're going to be. I'm going to stop saying the shit.
not unless you're like 23 and still like playing collegiate sports.
Defining in shape.
You can do whatever the
I
fuck you
mean-
want and you'll look good.
When I say in shape, what I mean is low levels of body fat. So we'll say that. Like, let me define in shape as low levels of body fat. I'm not saying you're going to be in shape doing that. You have to follow some type of nutrition plan
Right.
in order to get in true shape.
Right.
No way around that.
Correct.
But what I will say is you can still look halfway decent as long as you're training really hard.
Agreed.
Right. Would everybody agree with that?
Agreed.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that being said, I think a lot of people's problem when they come to the gym, by numbers, 75% of people's problem when they come to the gym is they don't train with the right intensity because either they don't know or they're just thinking coming in and just move, and this is just coming in and moving some weight and being moving is going to be enough.
Perfect example.
But your body, you say grown. We got a lot to cut out. I'm gonna stop talking about that.
Yeah,
But
I know. Give
yeah.
me more work.
What I'm saying is, I think that's the importance of being in a gym where people are motivating you. Like no different than this, right? Like we're having this discussion, and all of a sudden, if I did have thoughts of, do I really want to do the show? Is it worth doing the show? Just sitting here talking to you guys, I'm going, I can't wait to fucking kill it. Tomorrow when I get up to go train legs. Can't wait to get to my next meal. I can't wait to, because it makes you want to it gets you in the right mindset when you're around the right people. Regardless of what you're doing. Like if Ed's around a bunch of guys that are working for somebody else, and they're talking about, oh man, God, I get 3 weeks of vacation. This is great. I mean, yeah, I got to work for the man, but I ain't got to worry about nothing when I come home. And, all this stuff over and
I
over.
don't have any of them friends.
And over and over again. And that's all you hear. You're like, why am I doing this again? You got to reassess. Like, oh, okay, well, it's freedom. I get to create. I get to control. Like, you have to
Right.
You say those things to yourself, But when you're around entrepreneurial spirits all day long, then it's like, why wouldn't you want to do this, right? And so it's like, that's why it's important. Like, you put yourself around the right people because that negative's gotta
go.
It sucks for me. I'm here with y'all all day, and then I go save America on the weekends, and I'm getting told what to do. Like, two complete opposite shit. Getting told what to do.
We appreciate your service.
So 100%, but that is, you start to realize that's for younger men. That's what the league did.
Every day I'm
Some
down.
of the bullshit they try, you can slip on a young boy. You ain't slipping that shit on me, Chad.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Show up over where for nothing?
yeah, right. And again, like,
Yo, facts.
well, I think, here's where it gets you. When you're new into the sport, you just want recognition. You just want that recognition. And that's what they
They take your images.
They
use
prey
your
on that,
likeness, yeah.
right? They prey on, like now, it's even worse because I can tell you, hey, you're an ambassador for me. And you go, oh, I'm an ambassador. Send you a protein. Send you a fat burner. I'll get free stuff. You run around telling everybody, free stuff. Blackstone Labs got to give me free stuff. And you're like, I'm sponsored by Blackstone. No, you're not.
No, you ain't getting a check.
No, you're not.
You're not.
I was sponsored. I get a check every month, right? You are working a job and you get 10% of your sell the product.
And I hate to say it, but those guys make it harder for you to get a check.
Absolutely, because what were they doing? Running behind me. The people that I was putting on as customer, they running right behind me and going, hey, I know you buy from Fred, but if you use this code, you can get 30% off instead of just 15. Why the fuck are you doing that? Right?
Because they create an environment where they pit all of us against each other, and they ride off into the sunset wealthy, and they recycle us, they retread us. So the what you pull out of it is, you have to take that for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned, like when I really thought that when I turned pro, like the phone was going to ring, and there was going to be something there. Hey, baby boy, if you ain't special, ain't nothing happening. It ain't them fucking weights, it ain't those muscles.
Shit.
Nope.
It's either in there from the start, from the factory, or you don't have it.
That's right.
I remember we were sitting there, and I turned pro. Muscle Tech drops a check in my account the next day. Boom. I'm like, babe, I'm a pro. And I already had the contract before I started, before I turned pro. So 3 months into it, they get a call. Fred, we got to let you go. I'm like, I haven't even done my first show. I haven't had the opportunity to prove myself. They're like, you ain't hot no more.
That quick.
You're like, you were one of the best amateurs in the country. Now you're just a pro.
Now you're back at zero again. You got to start over.
You gotta build yourself back up. And it's crazy because when I was a top amateur, I walked up to the Muscle Tech guy and the guy goes, you look familiar, who are you? I'm like, I'm Fred Smalls. And they're like, oh, Fred Smalls. Next week they flew me, literally the next week they flew me up to Canada, photo shoot, got me decked out in all their clothes, sent me $1,500 worth of supplements, boom, everything. I'm thinking, man, I made it. As soon as you turn pro, you get X number of dollars a month. Just like that, right? 3 months into it, they're like, yeah, you're just a regular guy again.
Regular guy again.
So, no fault of your own. When you do well at the pro show, then we'll sign you. And I did well at the pro show, and I had all these bullshit offers come in. I'm like, I can make more than that working one day at the gym, training people. Why would I take that offer? But a lot of guys take that offer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Set your standard low when you
right,
take that first
and
one.
then what ended up happening was, well, I took a small offer first, and it was like I'm jumping through hoops to get a couple $100 to help me with a show. Like, you said you want me to be your main guy. I'm doing these photo shoots. You got me going to Florida. I'm doing all this stuff. You got my banners everywhere. You're using me to sell your product. I can't even get $700 to help me with the show. Like, what? Well, Fred, we give you all this protein and everything. You could have resold it.
Resold it.
What? What?
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, right. So at that point, I got my lesson early, thank God. I mean, I worked the Arnold for 3 days. I'm supposed to get a certain amount per day that they agreed on, right? And I'm like, get done the Arnold. They're like, oh, budget went over. We don't really have anything for you.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Thanks. No
Like,
thanks.
what are you going to do? Like, what are you really
Listen,
going to
and
do?
you wonder why when we caught the raft for getting LWP sponsor. Oh my God! And then all of a sudden, everybody was on that one.
Oh, my God.
Because no one gets paid. Your hero is lying. He probably lives in a fucking apartment. He's lying.
Well,
The big dogs, a couple of them are getting paid. For sure.
I mean, I could dance, so I was getting paid.
But you had something that you
I
had
did,
that
yeah.
came with you that
Yeah,
was on
yeah.
the inside, and you brought it.
Yeah.
I've seen the check for $10K twice.
Yeah, right.
Just for going to the Arnold, not all the other posing checks
Yeah,
and flying home with cash money.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the thing, you got to have something.
Yeah.
Don't expect them to give
Right.
you anything, man.
You gotta have
All they
something.
give you is a stage.
That's it.
And that's it, man. The rest is up to you.
Yeah. I mean,
They're trying to get theirs too. It's a business.
right. You gotta have something that's gonna set you apart from everybody else. No doubt about it. Like, either you're gonna be a freak, like Nick Walker, Samson Dowda, Andrew Jack, right?
Quentin
they're
Beastwood
the
coming.
best at what they're doing on that stage. So of course they deserve it because people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars to come see them. But and my niche was the posing. And in 2014, when I went to Olympia, I had a line where all these people coming from all these different countries because they wanted to see me pose on stage. And so definitely you were right. But it makes sense, right? Because how are they going to pay you money if you ain't making them money?
No. It's like
Right.
anything else, yeah.
But-
You're only worth what your revenue draw
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, but
The bigger you can draw, the more you can ask for.
Absolutely. But yeah, man, I think we hit on some good stuff that people that are up and coming, trying to do some bodybuilding and trying to be good at the sport can really relate to. Because every year you got a whole new crop of people coming out and trying to do this crazy sport, and they're like, and you like, there's so much information out there, but you're talking about 3 guys, 4 guys that have actually done this sport, you know, and
A couple times.
you know, he's placed as a pro in the top 5. You know, I've placed one as a pro. You know, Walter's on his journey to become pro.
And I did it.
Damn it.
Oh, it's that hard. I mean, I'm telling you, it's that hard. Just to do it is that hard.
And I think, you know, if you're really listening to this podcast, I think you're going to get some really good nuggets of information to help you on your journey as well. So thanks for listening to us again. Remember, Renaissance Transformation Contest is in full effect.
Right.
The link is below. Please click on it. Check it out because, hey, free battle, shred 'em. Best fat burner out there. It is for real. Will make you feel energetic, burn that fat off, and an opportunity to get in the best shape of your life and see Queen B, Beyonce, as a bonus. Can't beat it.
That's right.
Check it out. And thanks again for rocking with us out on another episode of the Big Classic Podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you want to hear. Peace.